So I have the Nintendo Switch 2 pre-ordered, and while I am absolutely hyped to play this console on day one, there is definitely one major downside to the Nintendo Switch 2, and we all know what it is. It's the fact that most of these third-party games are going to be coming on game key cards, which do give you a physical case and cartridge that you have to put in the console to then download the full game. I imagine that's just going to take up all the space, memory space on these consoles really fast. And we're going to be needing at least 500 gigabyte to 2 terabyte micro express SD cards. But another factor that just makes this even more kind of bad and lame to me is the fact that we are getting games that are coming out both for the Nintendo Switch 1 and 2, and the Switch 1 versions of these games are coming all on the cartridge, while the Switch 2 versions are coming, on the game key card, which require a download. One example of that is a game that I'm absolutely excited to play, which is Raiden Remastered. It's a spin-off of the Shin Megami Tensei series, but instead of the typical turn-based combat that you get in SMT, it's an action RPG, and the Switch version is coming all on the cartridge. It says the frame rate will be between 30 to 60, while the Switch 2 version is going to require a download from the game key card. It says 17 gigabytes, and it's supposed to have 60 frames per second, so it looks like it's going to have the better performance, and it'll be at 1080p on the TV and handheld, while the Switch version will be 720p on handheld, of course, and 1080p on the TV. So I definitely would rather play the Switch 2 version, with the better performance, since I'm going to be getting the Switch 2. But man, it's just kind of lame. I don't know if I might just double dip on this game. Another example that we have of this kind of situation is the game called Kaname No Date, I think it's called. It's that AI Somnium Files spin-off, those visual novel games. The Switch version is coming all on the cartridge, while the Switch 2 version is going to be a game key card. And then we also have the Suikoden games. I think those aren't coming here to the US yet, but the Switch 1 version came here. It's all in the cartridge. And in Japan, they're getting the Switch 2 version, but download only. And in Japan, all the Nintendo Switch 2 games have been announced so far that are coming out from third parties are all game key cards. Now, why is this happening? Nintendo themselves said that the reason they came out with the game key cards is because they wanted to future-proof their systems, because there's a lot of games these days that are like 100 gigabytes and more, and the Switch 2 only supports cartridge sizes up to 64 gigabytes. So I understand that. So could it be that third-party companies are just really cheaping out and abusing this system because they don't want to pay for a cartridge? Or could it be the rumor that Nintendo is only providing 2 cartridge sizes with an 8 gigabyte cartridge and a 64 gigabyte cartridge? So if most of these games fall between those sizes, maybe it just wouldn't make sense for these companies to pay up all that money when, it's not even the correct file size. So if that is the case, I gotta be honest, even as a huge Nintendo fan, I gotta say that a lot of this falls on Nintendo then, and hopefully sometime during this generation they can maybe fix that, maybe start providing different cartridge sizes, because I do strongly believe that software sales on the Switch 2 will not be anywhere near the historic numbers that they had on the Switch 1 if they don't try to do something to remedy this situation. Yes, we're still getting something. We still get the case. We still, get something that feels like a physical game, but it's not true physical media. And I think a big selling point of the Nintendo Switch 1 to myself and a lot of other gamers was the fact that you didn't need internet or anything. You could just pop the cartridge in, play the games, and enjoy them. Even though a lot of them, had day one patches and updates, most of the games were fully playable and enjoyable without any of those downloads or patches. I know there are physical purists out there who wouldn't even bother with that stuff. And actually, for my first couple years having the Switch 1, I didn't have internet. Sometimes I would go to a family member, friend's house and download some stuff. But for a while, I enjoyed a lot of these games like Breath of the Wild, Pokemon Sword, Fire Emblem Three Houses, a ton of these games without ever needing to connect to the internet. And Nintendo is still holding that up with the Switch 2. All their games, the first party games, will be on the cartridge, but this third party situation is just a huge mess. So hopefully it will be fixed, but we got to be honest here. This is a huge downside to the Switch 2. I thought it was going to be a lock, a done deal, that the Switch 2 would be the greatest Nintendo console of all time. And it still may be that for the quality of games that it gets. But from a standpoint, from the viewpoint of a physical collector, this is losing a lot of points and it's just not looking good. But what do you guys think about this situation? Is this enough to make you just not get the Nintendo Switch 2? For me, it's not, because I know Nintendo over time is going to have a lot of heavy hitter, first party games. So I'm definitely looking forward already to Mario Kart World, Donkey Kong Bonanza. In fact, I didn't get the Mario Kart World bundle. People may think I'm crazy for that because the physical is $80, but I had a few Switch games that I was like, I just don't ever want to play these games again. So I traded them in toward the pre-order of the physical game and console, and I got $55 trade credit for that from GameStop because they had the extra 20% trade-in for pro members. So I thought that was pretty good. So in reality, I'll be paying like what, 30, 25 bucks for the physical of Mario Kart World. That's not a bad deal to me. I know a lot of people don't like to trade in their games, but for me, if they're games that I'm just never gonna touch, I don't really need them. And I've realized that while I do like collecting games, I think curated collecting is definitely the way to go for me. I don't want stuff that I'm not gonna ever touch just to sit there on the shelf. Now, if it's something where I played it and enjoyed it, but I don't want to go back to it, but it's from a series that I love, then yeah, then I would still like to keep that in the collection. But anyway, let me know down in the comments below, what do you think about this whole Nintendo Switch 2 game card situation? Are you still excited to pick the console up, or has this killed your enthusiasm? Anyway, I appreciate you guys so much for watching the video. If you're not already and you like gaming and Nintendo related content, please drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel. And until the next time, I will catch you all later.